applications from people who are within 1 year of their graduation. So if you've graduated, you have at least another year to apply.
So can you apply individually or do you have to be a team?
No, we only take applications from teams. So a team can be as small as 2 people, but we don't take sole founders into the program. Just the reason is taking part in an accelerator and not having someone to bounce ideas off or to help share the load, it can be incredibly stressful. So we encourage people to find their team early, and that's why we run things like Find Your Founder events, and that's why the Tangent Network is so powerful. If you're looking for someone with a specific skill set, maybe we know another student you could be paired up with.
And does all the team have to be a student?
No. So the majority of the team should be at Trinity, but no, the team can be made up of, say if it's a team of 2, it can be you and your brother who's studying elsewhere or who's working but has time off to take part in the program. So as long as the majority of the team have a connection with Trinity, that's all we're looking for.
So if you're a student and you're thinking about maybe applying, but you're not sure, what sort of candidate is the ideal candidate for LaunchBox?
Oh, that's such a funny question. I'm going to give one of those well, it's hard to say type answers. I mean, I would say if you're thinking of applying, do apply. That would be my first piece of advice. If you're thinking about it, it probably means that you're curious about the entrepreneurial journey and curious about startups and that maybe you want to make a bit of a difference. And that's what we're looking for. So I would say bet on yourself, put in the application, do trust that you have what it takes. And, we offer a range of supports throughout the academic year for people who are thinking about LaunchBox. We can put you in touch with people who've gone through the program before. We have mentorship programs. We have Find Your Founder events, like I mentioned. We have information evenings, which end up being kind of more networking with alumni from the programs. And then when you're thinking of applying, you can have a one-to-one with myself to go through the application before you hit that scary submit button, because I know there are a lot of last-minute questions that people have. And then if you get through the process, then we have more supports available. So I would say, yeah, if you're thinking about it, then you're probably one of the candidates we're looking for.
Great. And is there any requirement on how far along in your business journey you should be before applying?
No, not really. We have a lot of the teams that get onto LaunchBox are early stage. It's rare, in a way, it's rare that a team would be revenue generating or would have incorporated already. So it is it's probably one of the only accelerators open to teams that are very early stage. So that's just another reason to stick in an application to think about applying, because it's such a safe space to learn a lot at a fast pace. And I mean, it's hard work. There's no getting around that. But it is just a really nice community. And it is, I suppose, the bar to entry is probably not as reliant on, say, investment or having revenue or having an MVP even, because we help you with that on the program. And the summer program, each successful team will receive 10K in funding, and that's equity free. So we don't take any kind of ownership of your idea. I suppose that's a small amount of money in some ways when you look at other accelerators, but for an early stage company, it can be the difference between progressing an idea and deciding you have to get a job instead this summer.
When do you start accepting applications?
So applications normally close February, and most of our applications come either the day before the application deadline or the day of. So I would say to anyone thinking about applying, don't feel like you need to get it in before Christmas or you need to get it in January. Do take time with the application and do avail of the different supports. But usually we would ask for applications in February, and then we have the teams picked usually before reading week in Hillary term.
Okay. And you mentioned that it in the summer. So does it run for the entire summer?
Yeah,
the students bring in. Who owns the IP?
I'm glad you asked that. We don't take any ownership of the IP. So we ask teams to sign a derogation form, which says that Trinity does not own your IP. Which again is quite unusual for an accelerator, but our view is that it's easier for us to be advocates and to give you the best advice we can, the best unbiased advice we can give you, if you're not thinking of us in terms of, well, she's only saying that because she's looking for a return on her investment. So we really want it to be an experiential learning, with the added bonus of a lot of the startups do go on to continue and make great success, but no, we don't take any ownership. We will, though, link to when you feature in the Sunday Business Post, we will take credit for you. But no, we don't own your idea and take any IP.
Okay. And so what often happens after LaunchBox? Like, what's the usual next step for someone who's been through the process?
I mean, it really depends. It depends on the type of business, and it depends on the stage the business is at. We're very lucky that the program has quite a lot of links within the Dublin ecosystem and the Irish ecosystem. So the network you get from LaunchBox is really valuable, but as a result, you probably are familiar with things like the Enterprise Ireland supports that are available, be that CSF or kind of commercialization funds or feasibility grants. So a lot of teams might apply for those. Some teams might spin into Trinity depending on the idea and depending on the stage, which can be really valuable, especially if they require a lot of research or testing. That can be really useful. So it's great to be part of a university community in that sense. Other accelerator programs. So some of our alums have graduated and gone in to do like NDRC. So Food Cloud would have been one of the teams that a lot of people have heard of, and they went into NDRC afterwards. Likewise, which comes with more investment and is a longer program. So that's great. Like other things like New Frontiers Phase 2 is a very natural one, which again comes with funding. So it really depends. And then obviously, if you're a B2C company, you might be ready to start selling. You might be revenue generating by the end of the program, in which case maybe you're looking to set up shop somewhere, or you could be looking for investment. So you're taking meetings with VCs. So there's lots of different avenues you could take. It really depends on the team and the idea.
It's exciting though.
Yeah, it is exciting, yeah.
So you mentioned Food Cloud. What other businesses would people have heard of that maybe have been through LaunchBox?
So a couple of notable ones we always return to. Artomatics is one. Eric, actually, he sold his company last October. So he did very well. TouchTech Payments is another one. They were acquired by Stripe not too long ago. I think that was last summer, just before the program started. Recent ones that people might have heard of, Change Donations, was 2018. I think they won LaunchBox in 2018. And last year, Keep Appy, which is a mental wellness app. So they won LaunchBox last year, and obviously in the current climate, mental wellness and stuff ever more important. So they've received quite a bit of publicity and some great press lately. So they'd be the main ones, but I mean, I could talk for a really long time about all of the different ones, and we're really lucky in that so many of them come back and speak to the students. But yeah, they're probably the ones that have been in the news the most lately, maybe.
Great. So that really gives us a nice picture.
It's a problem. Is it a pain point for enough people that people will pay for this idea or pay to use yours, or it solves like a global problem, things like that. So they would be two main things. The strength of team is always really important. So have you worked together before? Do you have the skills needed? So say, to give an example, this is the example I always give in the one-to-ones with students, but if you're coming to me to apply with a very technical idea for your, and you don't have any tech on your team, like you don't have a computer science background maybe, or you don't have, and you're going to rely really heavily on outside developers, I might be suggesting to you that before you apply, you try and find a co-founder who has the skills you're missing. So strength of team is always a big one. And then things like feasibility. So just, is the idea kind of pie in the sky, or does it have a bit of traction? Does it meet the criteria in terms of the realistic success? So they would probably be the three main ones.
Great. And I suppose finally, what advice would you give? I know you gave advice there in terms of, you know, the team, but I suppose speaking to the individual, what advice would you give if someone was thinking about applying for LaunchBox?
I mean, apply. That'd be my first piece of advice. Do come to speak to us. Myself and the other members of the Tangent Entrepreneurship team have one-to-ones that you can book throughout the year. There's no cap on the number of conversations that have been taking place over Zoom. I imagine there will be a mix between in-person going forward. And it's just a good support. Like, it's a really good first step to say, I have this idea. I'm a bit nervous about it. What do you think? So do take advantage of that. And I think just get involved with hackathons and different innovation challenges, and have a look at the different things you can do in addition to your degree or your diploma in Tangent and in Trinity, because it means you're connected to a bunch of people who are interested in the same things. And sometimes, even if it's not your idea that maybe you take forward to LaunchBox, maybe you met with someone and you come up with something really exciting and really new. And we just love to see that kind of creativity coming out when people connect.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that people don't maybe think of. You don't always have to be the person bringing the idea. You could be someone's co-founder, and you could bring that skill set to their team that they're in fact missing.
Absolutely. And I think some of the best teams we've ever had on LaunchBox have had a mix. Like, they're not always, you would think maybe the engineering is arts in Trinity. And I love seeing like philosophy students coming through and history and English students coming through, because they're such good communicators. And so they're really good salespeople, they're really good pitchers. They have like the empathy piece, which we talk to all our teams about in terms of user-led design and things. They really get that. So sometimes when you have that mix between STEM and arts, it can be really powerful. So, and how do you meet them outside of the lecture theatre? You come to Tangent and you come to an event. And yeah, it can be really powerful.
Absolutely. And your skills don't always come from your specialty. You know,
no,
a lot of people take those skills for granted, and they could be a crucial part of what makes a team work, or what, like you say, makes a sale. You know, that storytelling aspect of
100%.
Well, thanks very much. I hope that you did learn, and if you are a participant in any of our programs that you'd like to find out more, we'll put the link to the LaunchBox section of the Tangent website in the description for this video. And I'd also recommend that you sign up to the Tangent newsletter, because when we do have events coming up, like Alison mentioned, and find the founder events and things like that, that's a great way of finding out more about those when they come up. So I hope that you learned a lot about LaunchBox today, and hopefully we've piqued your interest. And definitely, if you'd like to find out more, please do get in touch. Thanks.